Yeah, we are talking about the management activities. So something we have to have idea before going to human resource management, right? So these are the first lessons I think you have learned when you came to management studies degree, yeah, management theory and practice. Yeah, the first subject you have learn these things. So I just give an reminder or to get into this subject area. So through these keywords, you can develop your own management definition, right? So what is management? Then it is it's a process, right? You have to tell it is a process of uh, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling of the resources of the organization to achieve its goals and objectives in an efficient and effective way. So this is simply what is management, right? So in here also you could identify that planning is the first and foremost and very important activity in management, right? So this is in human resource management also we are talking about human resource planning, something called human resource planning. So that is also very important for organizations to uh, to get and start. So what is to do their activities in an accurate way or very systematic way. So I think you have already learned that there is a saying that if you have uh, done your planning, it is almost 50% of your work has done already. So after that, you just need to go through the plan or implement it, right? So it is very important to planning in any activity, even in your personal life or in your career, in your job, in your education, right? Even in this degree program, you have to plan anything. Otherwise, you cannot uh, manage anything, right? So if you want to manage anything, so you have to plan it. No, so it is also there is a saying that if you do, if you are not planning, if you do not plan, you are planning to fail, right? Like so that is the importance talking about why it is very important to have a plan in any management activity or any key activity. So human resource planning. So what is as a key activity? What is called this human resource plan? Right? We have generally talk about management planning. So human resources planning is something same thing, right? Here we are talking about the resource, human resource. In other subject areas that can be finance, so customers, so whatever any other resource, right? Materials, stocks, so whatever. So in human resource planning, so we have to have an idea about what will be happening in the future. So what is the strategic direction of the right strategic direction of the organization, right? So what is the vision of the organization? What is the next 3 to 5 years plan of the organization? So what will be happen in the environment? So what type of changes will be happen? So this type of uh, forecasting or having an idea about the uh, team, so organization's future or the future plans, it is very important to have it and plan accordingly to have a good human resource to cater that the emerging activities or the jobs that have to be fulfilled, right? So as an example, like we say that if an organization currently in the market position of 3, right? The market share is 3. So in next 5 years, it is planning to go as the number one market share people or So the organization in the industry. So here, as the number 3 player, they may have around 25% market share. So they have to increase it over 50% to achieve the maybe market leader in the industry. So achieve this type of huge increase in the market share, they have to uh, have an idea about how they are going to market their product or service. So how they are going to cater the customers. So they are going how they are going to identify new customers. So in that case, you have to develop your marketing or sales team, right? So in that, so current sales team is if it is 100, so definitely you may have to double it or more than it to cater new customers. So go to in depth or finding new customers and get some reps from other competitors, right? So that type of thing you have to uh, improve double your sales force, right? So then as human resource managers, we have to plan how to double this human resource. So from which resources we are going to get these additional 100 employees in next few years, right? So in that case, this is called so sales force. So then, from the other point of view, we have to increase our production, our operation facilities, right? So otherwise, we cannot. We have to give the product or service to the market. So then, you have to have an idea about even though the fixed assets are the same, the variable inputs, like human resource or materials, all those things have to be increased, right? To increase the production. So in that case, there may be now 250 production staff. So you may have to uh, double it. So whatever amount you have to increase the production capacity to. It should be from machineries and buildings, land and machineries, land and buildings. All those things have to be there. In addition, you have to use some new inputs, right? New human resource inputs to the production facility. Then only they were able to increase their production and cater that the plan of the organization or the market share they are going to capture in next maybe 5 or 3 years, right? So that is called human resource planning. Yeah. So you have to plan about the future according to your organization's direction, vision, so goals, and forecasting changes happening in the environment. So all these things, right? So it is saying that organization has to proactive anticipate the changes. So if there's a good word called proactive, right? So always as managers, we have to be proactive, not reactive, right? What is mean proactive? Yeah. So his opposition is reactive, right? I think I'm right. Yeah. So if something happen, something happen, and then we are going to take action on it to correct it. That is called reaction or reactive uh, behavior, right? So if we can forecast what is going to be happen in next few years or next month, or what type of decisions policy decisions will be taken in future, what type of things our competitors will do. So if as managers, if we can forecast those things, like and take some proactive measures, so proactive actions to and get ready for those things. So that is called proactiveness, right? So always we have to anticipate that these type of things can happen in next few weeks or few months or few years, and we have to get ready ourselves with the technology, with the new product and services, right? All those things have to be decided now to face these challenges happening in the future. That is very important. The proactive, anticipating the changes and be proactive, being proactive, right? So one student camera is on 357. Yeah, just turn off your camera. Okay. Then HR planning consists, then saying that HR planning consists of the identification of the type of job needed along with their job requirement. So when you are planning, as as I mentioned in our previous example, you have to have an idea about what is the quantities or what type of people we need in the future, and also we have to think about what type of job, so what type of qualities, so what type of tasks and responsibilities those people have to be done. So in accordingly, we have to develop the job specification and the people, identify the people whom should be filled to those vacant positions in the future, right? So that is called things of planning. It's also mentioning that employees also need to plan for the future to ensure that you have necessary abilities and experience to succeed your job and career changes, right? So it is not only for the organization. This planning is important for you also, right? As employees in an organization, we have to have an idea about what will be our future. It's not the only one and only company we are going to work, can be changed, and also if we are in the same company, how we can how we can develop ourselves, develop our career in that organization, how we can get promoted, how we can get more responsibilities in the organization. So these type of things have to be anticipate and get ready yourself. So I think that's why you are also undergoing this course, right? The degree program. So you have an idea. So you know the importance of having a good management degree qualification to develop your career in your organization. So in any other organization. So I think that's why you have already wanted to complete this degree program. So that is called planning. So even not only you are doing the studies, you have to get some skills needed, right? In your job area, there may be emerging technologies coming into the workplaces, in the industry. So you have to be vigilant about these changes happening in the environment. The new technology is coming into the market, and then you have to prepare yourself, acquiring those knowledge, and you can introduce to the organizations also this type of changes happening in the environment. So if we can grab this technology or this type of way of working, then we will be able to have better efficiency and effectiveness in our operations. So we can grab more market share or whatever the benefits we can get for the organization. So that is very important. You have to plan your career in the organization, and as a person how you can develop further in the future, and also as managers or the responsible persons in your organization, you have to think on behalf of your organization to the future of the organization. So you are the responsible for that. Otherwise, no one from outside come and help you to do this thing like that. So you have to take the leadership. So then only you can make sure your organization will be grow continuously without collapsing with the challenging faced by the environment, right? So it is very important to have good HR planning activities. So as a key activity, we can identify this human resource planning. So the second activity is staffing, right? So what is staffing? So staffing is very broad area. There are so many activities within this thing. So you may have already heard that like recruiting, selection, like placement, orientation, promotions, terminations, all these things covered within the staffing as a staffing word or as a staffing as a key activity, right? So in an organization, after we have planned for the future of the organization, so what type of jobs, so what type of vacancies we need to develop. So then definitely we have to attract the suitable persons for these vacancies uh, to complete those tasks, right? So to acquire to the relevant job areas. So in that case, we have to recruit. So we have to internally or externally, we have to advertise about our organizations and the vacancy position for the suitable to seek the suitable person, right? Then these people will be the interested parties will be apply for the job. Then we have to screen through these all the applications and identify the whom will be the most suitable one or several people to go to the next level. Then we may have some tests or we may have some more interviews with them, and then only we can select the best or the most suitable person, so the person for our vacant job. So after that, you may need to have them while as a starting thing, we have to give an orientation, right? We are talking about all those things in future. So we have to give an orientation and socialize them, right? In the which is that is called something like socialization to the organization, right? The people who are coming out from the organization, they're having different attitudes or values, type of culture they have coming from, right? So they have to be matched with the organizational culture within that. In that case, we have to give proper about very proper information and idea about the culture within the organization and how they can adjust themselves to sustain in the organization in the long run, right? So that is something called orientation. And also we need to give the training and development programs to make sure that the persons who are coming into the organizations have or develop necessary knowledge and skills to perform their assigned tasks effectively and efficiently, right? So then after their activities, so they have done the job. So while they are working, we can identify who are the good performers or who need trainings and development further, right? So if they are very good performers, so high performers who are going beyond the expectations of ourselves or the managers of the owners, so definitely we have to reward them, right? It can be a promotion or financial reward, anything, right? We have to reward them, make sure they are retained in the organization in the long run. Otherwise, if they have leave the organization, it can negatively affect the organization in the long run. So we have to have to make sure that they are retaining in the organization. So that we have to give positive feedback and the rewards uh, to make sure they are in. And also in the other hand, if there are negative people with some negative attitude, so those who are not suitable for the position or those who seems like they don't they are not matched with the organization for the job. They have even they have lack of knowledge and skills and attitudes required for the job. So then definitely we have to go for the termination process, right? So then we have to ask them to leave due to resignation. That may be they are due to poor performance, so any other reason, maybe a disciplinary issue or something like that. So all these from starting from recruiting to the termination, all these things are called as staffing activity, right? So you may have to have an idea about this thing. So you want if you need to explain this thing, you have you will be able to explain this thing in the examination, right? So it is definitely saying that even a small scale organization pays careful attention to taking staffing decisions, right? So it is very important, right? So any one person, it is not an easy task getting any person to the organization, and if they are not performing, and then it's not very easy to terminate them, right? So we have to carefully screen before taking the organizations also. We have to take some time and do some background check about the organized people who are joining, and double check their educational qualifications and necessary skills and attitudes they should perform. They should have to conduct this their job, right? So that is very important. Before they are recruiting or before they are placing on the job, we have to carefully go through their background check and double check the information what they have shared, right? Then only we will be able to select and retain the best or the most suitable person in the job role, right? uh, then it will be not affect on the not going to the termination process. So that will be beneficial for the organization as well as for the employee, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's a question asking that advertising the job is under planning or staffing. Like it is under staffing. Yeah, it is under staffing. The advertising is something part of the recruiting, right? In the staffing, I have mentioned that plan, recruiting, selecting, orienting, promotion, and termination, all these processes are there. In that advertising and vacancy, it is included to the recruiting, right? So we need to recruit. So the recruiting means attracting people to the vacant positions and selecting the best person out of that, right? So I think Saturi, I have answered your question, right? Okay, if you need
Thank
any,
you, sir.
okay, right?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Okay, then yeah, it's saying that it's very important for any organization, even for the small scale organization. We need to carefully make sure that the best or the most suitable person we are going to recruit, right? Then it is saying the staffing decisions also have legal ramifications, right? If the applicants or the employees feel that they have been discriminated against in recruiting, hiring, granting promotions, or layoff by any other activities, there can be some legal activities. They could go to the labor court and take some legal actions against the employer. So it is very important to obey to the laws. So make sure that we are all the processes and activities we are doing in an organization are according to the law. So there should be having a good understanding by the HR practitioners and the legal department how to give the advice for the HR people to to in line with all the necessary legal things, legal acts, and the things what is in in the country what they are working or what where they are doing business, right? They have to have an understanding. It is not an excuse that you don't know the law. So whatever the reason, you have to know the law before you are doing the business. So it's very important to have an idea about the laws regarding the staffing or the HR decision. So then accordingly we have to work, right? So that is we have discussed about the planning thing. So the third one is evaluating and compensating, right? So compensating. So what does this mean? Evaluating means so after we have placement, we have done the placement, and we have given the required training and development things. Then the employee have to perform in their job role. So as managers, we have to do evaluation, not biannual or after yearly formal type of performance appraisal. It's part of it. But almost every time we need, as the supervisors, need to supervise the work and the behavior of the employee and take corrective actions where necessary to make sure that the employee is performing according to the needs of the organization, right? So evaluating is a very wide area. Even in your level 6, there is a separate subject for this performance evaluation. So it's very wide area. So we need to make sure we review or evaluate the performance of the employees, and then we need to compensate them. That means we need to give the rewards and the necessary salaries and the benefits, what is agreed upon their recruitment, right? So it is very important compensate as per the laws, as per the agreements, and also if they are after the evaluations, if they are a good performance, we need to give proper increments and bonuses or whatever incentives, commissions or whatever thing to make sure that the people who are performing well are motivated and they will retain in the organization for long period of time. Otherwise, we may lose our good performing employees even though we have hired them, right? So this saying that without reviewing, it is impossible to access uh, one's performance and to decide whether he or she has reached the expected performance level, right? By doing that, can decide whether the person requires more encouragement to promotions, skill development to training. Right? As it said earlier, also there are two sides after the evaluation. So we can identify whether he is very high performer, right? Or he is a low performer, or maybe he is an average performer, right? For the high performers, we need to motivate them by giving relevant rewards to them, right? So by that, we can motivate them and make sure they are within the organization with good attitude and contributing the same as they are currently doing, right? So maybe more than that. For the average performers and the low performers, so those people, we need to identify the lacking areas, so the performance gaps, and thereafter we can decide the required and necessary training to be given to these employees to fill that performance gap through training and development. So that is also a part of this evaluation, right? So this evaluation and compensating also another very important activity in human resource management, right? Then it is called improve the organization, right? So what is called improve the organization, right? It's not the organization. The organization, as I said earlier, will build upon the employees. The employees are who are carrying out this organization to the growth state, so the maybe to the wave, right? So, so whatever the direction, it is decided by the employees of the organization with the management, right? So it is very important to make sure the improvement within the individual. So the employees in the organization, then only they will able to direct the organization to the correct level, to the correct growth state, right? So for that, we need to constantly identify the training needs or gaps there. So then give that required training accordingly, right? So it is saying that organizations constantly develop and take measures to improve their human resources. More and more organizations now are moving to computer-based techniques to meet these changes in techniques. Training programs are conducted, right? The productivity improvement programs are also being conducted in many organizations today, often with major implications for jobs and workers. Also, many organizations now pay close attention to safety and health matters as the cost associated with the injury and sick workers have steadily increased over the years, right? So all these things points talking about some training required areas, right? Especially when you're talking about the technological changes happening rapidly in the society or in this business environment. So we need to we cannot be in the same position by following the same manual or the basic computer things. So we cannot be like that. If it's so, the other people, the competitors will grab these technologies and they will make sure the efficiency and effectiveness and the customer service, all those things will be improved in their end. And the other organization, we will lose our efficiency and effectiveness and also the customer loyalty or customer awareness, all those things, right? So it's very important to give proper trainings to the employees uh, for them to make sure that these areas are in line with the requirement of the organization, especially the technological changes and the productivity and efficiency in the organization, and also the safety and health matters. That is also a very important part in human resource management. We need to make sure the safety and the health of the employees in the organization. Within the workplace and also outside the workplace. So for that, we need to constantly educate those people to make sure to take care of their own safety and uh, the health related things, right? So that is we call the improve the organization. Basically, it's not into the organization, into the employees of the organization, and make sure that the organizations also developed by the same set of employees after they are getting the required training and development things, right? So that is the fourth key activity of human resource management. So another very important, last but not the least thing, so employer and there are two parties, right? Employer and employee relationship is very critical when you're talking about the development or growth of the organization, right? The employees have the idea about to get to invest on the business and earn a profit to the organization to then himself, right? Then the employees have their own personal objectives and also they may have the attitudes to develop the organization. Uh, so in that case, it is very important these two parties have a very good understanding about themselves and uh, make sure they are having a good relationship that motivate each other to have a good, loyal and continuing relationship for many years in the organization, right? So maintaining effective employer and employee relationship is also another critical key activities what should conducted by the human resource management practitioner, right? So it is saying that maintaining effective relationship between employer and employee gives two benefits basically, right? The first one is poor employee-employee relationship can create many problems for the organization. So, if there is a very good relationship, then it's saying that there are two benefits, right? The first one is when there are good relationship, good understanding with the employer and employee, it will it will make sure that there will not be many issues, right? So even though there are issues, the employees have the ability to talk with the human resource management department or the owners of the organizations and get it sorted out. Now, right? So the second one is to obey with the laws pertaining to the employer-employee relationship. So as it said earlier, the laws, there are so many labor laws and acts in the in Sri Lanka, also in in other countries, to make sure that employees are treated fairly, and they are secured with their jobs, and if something bad can happen within the organization. So in that case, if we have good relationship between the employee and employer, the we call the level, or the way it can happen, the bad things, the negative things will be very reduced, and the low issues. So any law related issues that can come to the organization will be minimized to having good employer-employee relationship. This can be achieved to the unions also. So it is not saying that some organizations are restricting unions. So according to HR practitioners, it is very important to have unions within the organizations, because especially in large scale organizations, because human resource management cannot individually go and talk to each person. So when there is a collectively uh, they are informing or giving the feedback about the employees issues, and the things they want to happen. So then even the human resource management department can have an idea about those things, and act accordingly, and discuss with the employers, and make sure those things are conducted or implemented, and make so that there will be very little or very less law issues or court cases or police cases in the organization. Right? So these are the 5 key activities within what is done by the human resource management practitioners, right? So within all those things, which especially in the staffing, there are so many points that we can talk about, so that we can describe. So you may need to have an idea about these 5 things, so that will be help you to develop a good answer if there is a 20-mark question in the examination, right? So you have to have an understanding about the key activities of human resource management. So we have taken a lot of time to explain these key activities, because it's very important. Yeah, the way forward. So all the future subjects will be are related with this area. So we have so far discussed some key activities. So you may go through it, and you could ask any question or put it into the chat if you have any questions regarding the key activities of human resource management. You can go through your tour, so you can see in the screen. You just take a look, and make sure you remember those things. That those are very important. Don't take time. You are postpone this thing, right? Just try to make sure that this from now onwards you can remember it. So then you may not no need to again go hardly through all those things. Just make sure that you just scan to the document. You may can remember when the exams are closer, right? Okay. So I think all of you have gone through this thing. So looks like no questions there. So we can go to the next part of the discussion. So that is environmental factors, right? So as we said earlier, we are in within an environment, right? We are within an environment. We are conducting our business operation within this society, within this governing area or this people in the in the society. So definitely there are environmental effects, right? So uh, we cannot avoid these such effects to the organization. We just need to make sure that we are well aware about these things and we are proactively taken measures and the actions to face those challenges, right? So when you're talking about the environmental factors, basically there are two type of environments, right? We can identify. That is external and internal. You can see and graph the picture in the screen. So the middle part is the most closest or the more having more control over the organizations. That is called internal environment. So that include owners, board of directors, employees, physical environment, and the culture of the organization. Right. So these are the most the closest to the organization. So the parts that can be controlled over by them uh, to face the challenges. Right. That is we call the internal environment. So out of that, there are two parts that task environment and general environment. In task environment, there are some those people like who are directly affecting the organization, like competitors, suppliers, like customers, regulatories, and strategic partners. Right. So all these things, all these parties are directly or indirectly working with the organizations in their business. So they are very important in the maintaining the good business process or the growth of the organization. So this task environment consisting with competitors, customers, yeah, uh, economic dimensions, so suppliers and strategic partners. All these people are closely working with the organization's internal environment and make sure all these parties are supporting to go to the goals of the organization, right? So apart from that, there is the general environment, what is in yellow color. So that is basically we can divide into five parts. That's international dimensions, technological dimensions, economic dimensions, social cultural dimensions, and political and legal dimensions. I'm not going to explain those things in detail. You have already learned those things. I just want to recap and to make sure that those things are linked with the today's subject, right? So this general environment, yeah, those environment also there are so many changes happening in this environment time to time. Yeah, political instability, political new acts, so new way of working, the barriers, import restrictions, right? Economic changes, fluctuations of the exchange rate. Yeah, foreign exchange crisis, world crises, all these things happen within this general environment. Yeah, what is out of the out of control of the internal environment or the organization. So in that case, the thing that we can do is uh, not blaming on those changes or the politics or the things happening in the environment. We have to adjust ourselves and be prepared to face those challenges and make sure we are, however, we are growing ourselves and achieving the set goals in the organization in whatever the reason, whatever the activities, right? So these are the environment what we are going to discuss. So in the human resource management also, we need to have a good understanding about the changes happening in this environment, especially in the external and internal environment. So if talking about the first external environment, so we have already discussed what is called external environment. So in that case, external factors emerge from outside the company. These factors include in the business condition, workforce characteristics, laws, unions, technological are beyond that are beyond organizational control, right? There are few examples: union activities, technological activities, technological changes, the legal laws like the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, right? So these type of legal acts and some technological changes and also the union activities, all these things are within the external environment, and these changes can happen anytime. They are out of organizational control, but we need to forecast these changes and make sure we are ready to face these challenges, right? Then when you're talking about the internal environment, the internal factors are those that emerge within the organizations, and these factors such as work structure and business strategy are unbreakable, right? Example, organizations, business strategy, organization structure, right? So within the internal environment also, uh, what's important for human resource management is how it is organized, right? The organization structure. So as an example earlier, there were very tall structures, right? You may have heard that very bureaucratic and very tall structures are there. From the top to bottom, there are so many layers, right? So when you are taking a decision or cost allocating, all these things affected through this uh, due to this structure of the organization. So the current trend or the what is talking in new businesses are it should be a not a tall structure, it should be a more flatter structure, right? So maybe one or two layers are there. So then the decision making will efficiency will be increased, the more communication will be happen. So with the especially with the education changes, so there are more and more people are educating, and then it is we don't want to have more layers. Then all the people maybe in some executive grade, so all are having good educational and professional background. Then all the people can work as a team, right? There are no bosses, so sir, madams, like that, right? All the people are working as a one team towards the goal of an or to achieve the goals of the organization, right? That we call the structural organizational structural changes, right? So also there are some business strategy changes can happen with the what happened in the in the environment. So therefore, business strategy direction could be changed, especially with this corona pandemic, maybe some import restrictions, right? With these things, the political instability, global crisis. So with these things, there can be some opportunities also opening up. So that is also something that we can cater, and also there are some uh, doors can be closed. So the opportunities can be lost. So the current business opportunities can be lost. Then we need to have a separate direction or strategic direction can be changed. So in that cases, we need to adjust our human resource to adopt those changes and make sure that all are in line, or all are okay with the changes to way forward, right? So that we talk about some key internal and external environment changes that can happen, right? So then we are coming to another important part of this lesson. Yeah. So we have so far discussed about the key activities of human resource management. We have discussed 5 activities, and then we have discussed the importance of environmental changes. So the environment, I just understanding, having an understanding about the environment, the changes can happen to forecast and be prepared ourselves, right? Especially talking about the internal and external environment, right? So now we are going to talk about goals of HRM, right? So what is the goal? So as with all those things, all these things, what we are going to achieve. So what is the purpose of the human resource management, right? So we should have an understanding. Otherwise, we are just learning theories and textbooks. We are reading textbooks. So all these things have an focus. So clear objective or goal to achieve within an organization. Then only it will be valuable and making sense to the owners or the employers to having an HR department within the organization, right? Yeah. So when you're talking about the goals of human resource management, the first one is to reduce absenteeism. Yeah, what is absenteeism? Yeah, reduce absenteeism. Yeah, we should reduce it. Okay, eliminate the absenteeism within an organization. So as we know, when you have recruited some set of people to the organization, maybe for the production or the operations, or maybe for any other task. So in that case, it is very important to have all these people are when the organization is working, all the people are within that. Otherwise, if they are so it's like a process. The business is a process. No, we have already learned. So all these things are linked one another, right? Like we call this bounce things in a clock, right? So if one part is not working properly, so that could affect to other parts of the operation or the business process. So it's very important. So all these processes are conducted by the, if it is not automated, maybe mostly conducted by the skilled workers or the employees or the managers, right? So in that case, so if the people who are required to perform that task is not available when it is needed, it could affect the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization. So in that case, we should make sure that people are not absent without informing, yeah, without taking prior approval. So we should be more conscious about that. People are taking leaves, or they are not just without any discipline taking leave. So that is what we call absenteeism. So we need to reduce this thing, absenteeism thing. That is the main goal. Main goal of the human resource management, right? So it is saying that reasons for people get absent from work, right? So if we need to reduce something or control this thing, so we first should identify the reasons behind that, right? So otherwise we cannot take some solutions for those things. So it's very important to have an understanding about why this absenteeism could happen or is happening in an organization, right? So basically there are two reasons, right? The first one is lack of motivation to attend work, yeah, and the second one is the inability to attend work. It can be illness or family responsibilities and transport difficulties, right? So the second one, I think, especially the transport difficulties, we have already faced, right? Uh, with the corona pandemic, and now we are having it with fuel crisis, right? So even the person whom we have recruited, yeah, he is in home now, so he should. So now there are some differences. So his home, this maybe office, or the factory. Yeah, even though this person, we may assume that all the people should be present in the organization. There is no mechanism to work from home. So then the person should physically come into the office place or the operation business process area, right? So in that case, even though he has the necessary motivation and uh, the excitement to attend to the work, even if the person cannot have a good if the person don't have a transport facility, so there are some fuel issues, so there are public transport issues. So in that case, he may not be able to come to the office or the workplace on time, right? Yeah. So that is one reason. That there can be some other reasons like illnesses and family responsibilities, especially the when there are very young children or small children for an employee, for especially for mothers and fathers, especially for mothers, then they have a responsibility to take care of their sick child, right? So in that case, they may need to take leave and attend to that responsibility, right? So this type of thing, yeah, can be avoided through some strategies, like giving transportation to the employees in the organization, and maybe having a daycare center within an organization to take care of the child, small children. Yeah. So, and also some, just the illness, there is should be a proper way of supporting the person to take medicine, and financially it can be reimbursed to the schemes or insurance things. Yeah? So those things should be taken. Then only the second reason, the inability to attend the work, can be avoided or limited. So the first one is also another very important, that is motivation. So even though the person have all these things, having the organizations have given the relevant what we call transport facilities and fuel, and maybe they are having a child care centers within the organization, and they are giving all the medical benefits. But if the employee don't have the inner drive or the motivation to physically attend the work, if he cannot wake up in the morning without if the laziness out of his mind. So that is called motivation, lack of motivation, right? So if the person have good motivation, then it's automatically it's very energized to attend to the work, and it's very interest to work, attend to work. So the motivation, yeah, motivation is very important thing. Yeah. So we are going to learn about the motivation also in future lessons. Yeah, it's very important to make sure your employees are motivated, yeah, to perform, and also to perform they should attend to work, no? So this motivation and reducing the inability to work scenarios, then we can reduce the absenteeism, and it is one of major goals of the human resource management, right? Yeah. So second one, we are going to talk about selective retention. So it's not just retention, yeah, it's selective retention. So what is called selective retention? So retention means when an employee join to an organization and is performing and bring and if it's high performer, we need to make sure that this employee is with us for long period of time. So then we need to selectively make sure that employee is retaining with us, is giving necessary benefits to make sure that he is motivated and without having dissatisfaction about the job or the scenarios or the work environment. So that makes sure that the suitable person will be retained within the job or within the company, right? So just saying that factors affecting the decision to change the job. The, the opposite or the what is affecting the retention of the employees is the persons or the employees are going to another computer organization or maybe another totally different organization, right? So in that case, even this employee are having a decision, they should take a decision about whether they should retain in the same job or they should move to another job what is offered to him, right? So in that case, there are two factors it's talking about. One first factor is job satisfaction of the current job, how pleased you are with the present job. Yeah. The second one is expected job satisfaction of alternative employment or employee's prediction of the potential satisfaction, right? So this is something if you have changed your job, you think we have already done this thing, right? Even though this is as a in the theoretical part, it's something very practical thing what we are doing in our head, right? So this present job versus future or the maybe offered job, right? It's offered by a third party or the person, another person or another company. Yeah. So then we have opportunity. Then surely we are comparing these things, right? Especially maybe benefits, right? Compensation, the satisfaction what we are getting, uh, and also what are the tasks and responsibilities and the positions, right? And what type of experience that could gain, the exposures that can be taken by the employees. So all those things will be uh, compare and contrast, and then only they are going to take the decision. So in that case, if we have a good facilities and all the things with us that is not could not match with the competitor, right? Good pay, good other benefits. So then they may not able to offer the correct benefits and make to shift their employees of an organization, right? So we should make sure the selective retention is happen. Yeah. So the best people for the most suitable person should be retained. Make sure they are retained with the organization. Yeah. So that is one another very important goal of the organization. Yeah. So there's one. There's only three goals is talking. Yeah, the high performance. So whatever the employees taking hired by an employer organization, they are expecting something to be performed by the employee, right? So if they have performed well only, the organizations can develop their business. So in that case, the human resource management department and the key supervisors should make sure that the high performance is already it's assured or it is controlled. Yeah? So for that, they should have KPIs and where they're going to measure the effectiveness, the efficiency of the employees, right? So in that case, the performance, especially when you're talking about the performance, it's not only about the quantity, right? Quantity, most probably the quantity type of measurement. So KPIs will be decided, right? But maybe they have achieved the quantity, yeah, of the KPI, but it may be not ethical way of doing. So it is not, it is harmful for the other employees or the organizations in the long run or whatever thing, right? So in that case, the quality also should make sure or control that we should make sure that uh, the employees within the organization achieve the quantity targets, so the KPIs, while make sure the quality also as expected by the organization, so as expected by the uh, the customers of ours, right? So that are the three goals of human resource management environment. So if you have any questions, you can raise now. Just give some 1 or 2 minutes to go through this thing. So then you can revise what we have already, what we have discussed so far within last few minutes. So when you're talking about the goals of the HRM, there are basically three. So we should reduce the absenteeism and make sure the selective retention, and also the high performance of the employee should be ensured, right? So these are the goals of the human resource management subject. Yeah. So then we are going to talk about some goals. Yeah. So talk about activities, goals, yeah, environmental effects. Now we are talking
Excuse me,
about
sir.
some
Excuse me, sir.
goals of HRM practitioners, right? Maybe human
Sir,
resource manager. Yeah.
sir, can you explain high performance once again?
High performance. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think maybe related some of your question. I don't know. Yeah. High performance. High performance means, so if you want to measure anything, so the measurement thing is the performance, right? So we are going to measure performance. Yeah. So whatever the thing, if you are going to measure something, there should be a scale, right? So if you are going to measure the height of the student, so we are going to measure the weight of the student or marks or whatever thing, we should have some type of scale, right? So there should be two ends, yeah. So high, maybe this is low. For that, we should have some indicators, yeah. So those indicators we are telling as KPIs. So what is KPI? Key performance indicators, right? So if you're working, you may have heard these things. So these key performance indicators are used by the employee in the organizations to give the performance indicators to measure how they are performing each employee's tasks and how they are performing well or not, right? So based on these KPIs, there can be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or more than that. So each of these KPI, the supervisor or the person can mark it. So how this person performs, right? So that maybe as an example, uh, For salesmen, there can be one KPI. They should achieve their given target, maybe 100%. So if it is, if they are not achieving it, or they are having very low performance throughout for last few months, it can be identified as a low performance, right? So if it is more than the expectation, it can be excellent or high performance, right? So that is something what we can, so as same as like that, there can be some other KPI. So these performance indicators, based on that, we can we can categorize the employees are high performance or as low performance. Yeah, is that okay? Did I answer your question? Vignesh mic is on. Is any questions to ask? So yeah. So who has asked the question? 201. Is it okay? The explanation is in order, or you may need any further clarification?
No, sir. Okay, sir. I understood.
Okay. Okay. Then we'll move on to the next part. So we are going to talk about the roles of HRM practitioners. So who are the HRM practitioners? Those who are practicing human resource management in the organization. Maybe human resource manager, maybe director of human resource. So there are so many words using for this human resource talent acquisition managers, right? These are the new words coming out in the corporate world. Maybe administration manager, yeah. So many words, maybe training managers. So there are so many people who are practicing these human resource management activities. So in that case, we can identify some roles. Yeah. So you may have heard that the managerial roles, right? In the Mintzberg, 9 or 10, yeah, 10 managerial roles. You have learned in your management subject, right? So same as that. Here we are identifying some human resource practitioners roles in organization. So first one is as a business expert. Yeah. So the human resource management or managers also have a good idea about the how the operation, so what type of business is going on in the organization, and accordingly they have to arrange their own tasks. When they are interviewing, there are some examples, they are interviewing the candidates, writing rejection letters, yeah, some of tasks they are conducting as business expert. Yeah. Review company policies, develop HR information system, yeah, reward system such as salary schemes, conduct workshops in training and development, design performance appraisal form, approve salary increases, recommendation made by managers, right? Recruit job applicants, conduct employee surveys, provide orientation for new employees, right? So all these tasks are basic tasks conducted by human resource management people. Yeah, it can be identified as categorized under the role as a business expert in an organization. So the second role, that is the role as the change facilitator. What is this change facilitator mean? So in the inception or at the start of this class, we have discussed about the change, right? So we said that we cannot avoid this change. We have to face it. That is changes all every time we can see the changes happening in the environment. Yeah. So so when there is changes happening in the outside environment, as an organization, as a team, we need to change ourselves, right? Then only we can adjust to the changes happening in the environment. Yeah? So when in that case, the human resource practitioners have to make sure that they are role as change facilitators, right? So when an organization changing themselves, the employees are changing themselves, the human resource management practitioners, so the team should facilitate. Yeah, they have to consult them and give necessary directions and support to make sure that they are taking this change as a positive change positively and uh, monitor these reactions to change and make it effective change, right? Saying that as the change facilitator, HRM staff will have an impact on how to change, assisting, facilitating the change and monitor reactions to change, right? So as change facilitators, they should uh, lead or support for these changes happening within the organization, right? So third, so business consultant, right? Strategy. So then now the person, the human resource managers are not just specialization in human resource, right? So they most of the time they are really qualified. They have master's degree or management degrees. So with that they have gained the knowledge and expertise about all other business areas, right? They are having an idea about what is happening over there. So then so with that knowledge and experience, they could have being the part of strategy development board, so the strategy development meetings, yeah, board meetings. So in that case, they are doing the role as a strategy consultant, so consulting the team and the others to how they could make sure the strategic direction is correct. Yeah, so how they can use their inputs to make sure that the direction is correctly understood, right? It is correctly developed. So it's saying that HR managers are more popular in making long-term decisions regarding the organization business direction plan for opening up new facilities or closing existing facilities, so forth, right? When you're talking about strategy, so as I said earlier, it's talking about the long run. So in long run, we may need to take decisions like, uh, yeah, if you are going to add some new businesses, so we are moving into new business areas, we are going to develop new products or services and cater new markets. So maybe some decisions like closing up some existing facilities or business areas or product areas, yeah, few markets. So those are some strategic decisions, right? In that case, the human resource practitioners playing the role as a strategy consultant in the organization, right? That are the three main roles that human resource management practitioners are practicing within an organization, right? So, if there any questions regarding this area, the roles of human resource management, okay? There can be questions can come, but I think that is not most of the time they have not yet any questions came from this area, but you should have an understanding about these roles and you may make it remember, right? Yeah, that is the roles that playing by the human resource managers. Yeah. So then we are coming to the final part of the lecture, that is dimensions of strategic human resource management. Yeah. So last time we have talked about the strategic human resource management, right? What is strategic human resource management and how it is important for an organization, right? So today, as the last part, we are going to discuss some dimensions of strategy human resource management, right? So as I said few minutes ago, this strategic human resource management is a part of human resource management that is talking about the future of the organization. So the long run, or the long term, what will be happen to our organization, what type of employees we need, and what type of decision we should take to make sure we are our sustainability as an organization and our growth. Yeah, so that type of long run decision taking units, the things what we are conducting is called the strategic human resource management activities, right? So in that case, some dimensions is talking here, that is, one is re-engineering. So what is re-engineering? Yeah, engineering means we are something developing, right? We are planning and developing something. Yeah. So re-engineering means we maybe we look at the what is already happened and maybe develop a separate or develop further the structure for the activities what we have already done, right? So it is saying that re-engineering of business process means the fundamental rethink and radical redesign of the business process to achieve dramatic improvements in critical contemporary measures of performance such as cost, quality, service, and speed. Yeah. So the re-engineering things are happening in many organizations. Yeah. There may be external consultant coming to organizations and direct them how to do the re-engineering process in the organization. That is aiming at increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of the business process in the organization, right? So they are going, especially this outside parties may be coming into organizations and they are having taking some time and carefully monitor and observe how the business process is working out, right? Accordingly, they are suggesting the ways how it should be changed, or what the areas they are not performing well, so how it can be changed and make sure that performance are going to increase, right? Make sure the quality will be increased and the cost will be reduced, and how we can give a great service and give the speed of service, right? All these things are talking in the re-engineering business process. So that is some one dimension of strategic human resource management, right? Second part is leadership. Yeah, it's something I think we have talked about in many subject areas. Leadership is very critical for any organization to their survival. Yeah, survival and growth, especially for the growth. So what we are saying is it is not managers who are going to take the business to the next level. It is the leaders. So even though there are some managerial people in the organization, maybe with managerial qualities, those who are managing well. So as an strategic business organization, they should inculcate that leadership qualities within this top level management and mid level management. So then they can implement those leadership activities within them and make sure that they become leaders and they're going to take these organizations to the next level, right? So this leadership is something very critical for an organization uh, to go to the next level or to make sure that it's growing constantly, right? Saying that leadership is the process where an individual member of a group or organizations influence the interpretation of events, the choice of objectives and strategies, the organization of work activities, the motivation of people to achieve the objectives, the maintenance of cooperative relationship, and the development of skills and confidence by member, and enlistment of support and cooperation from people outside the group or the organization, right? So when we're talking about the leadership, it's mostly this motivation is something that linked with this leadership, right? So as leaders, they are always motivating their team members or the followers to achieve some greater results, right? They are showing some maybe a path or some goals or targets, and they are working towards it. And with that, the other followers or the team members have a confidence about the leader, and they are working as a team to achieve the goals of the organization. So okay, for that, it is very important to motivate, constantly motivate these all the employees or the followers of the this leader and the employees, and make sure they are achieving the organizational objectives. Right. Then the third dimensions of strategic HRM is workplace learning. So learning is something that should be continuously happen within an organization or within an employee, so within an individual also, right? So as an employee or as an individual, we should not stop learning, right? Because learning happens every time we are taking new knowledge, new experience. Yeah, so many things happening within a day. We are learning. It may be, may not be something we are doing formally, or something we are going to university or school and learn a subject area, but something within the society, with the groups and with the experience, working with people, we can share some knowledge and experiences and learn some skills. So it is very important to have a workplace learning culture, right? The learning culture should be inculcated within an organization. Then the people are motivated to learn and share, especially share the information or the way they are working, right? If for sharing, there should be a proper trust between the employees and within the team. That if there's less trust within the people, they may not maybe share their 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 how they work, how the secrets behind their success, right? So it's very important to have developed the trust within the team, and also having a learning culture within the workplace. So in that case, the all the, the things will be shared with among the team, and it will be easy uh, for the performance, and it will be increase the performance of the organization, right? Saying that it is a part of the management process that attempts to facilitate the work-related continuous learning at the individual or group or organizational level, right? Establish this type of culture and environment in the organization is important, right? So the learning culture should be inculcated within an individual first, then within the team or the department, and within the whole organization. So all the organization should learn with the time, with the new technologies, yeah, new experiences, right? So then only the individuals will be grow, and also teams or department will be grow, and finally the organization will also be go to the next level, right? So that is another part. The fourth dimension is trade union, right? I will speak about this in last session, in the few today, few minutes ago, like the importance of trade unions. So we should not avoid or have barriers to not develop any trade union within an organization, right? Other than that, we should make sure that the voice of the employees are coming to the trade unions, and the more best there is a good administration within that, and the leaders are developing within that trade unions, and the collective ideas should come onto the management, of the organization through these trade unions. So if we can promote the trade unions to be have more good relationship with the employer without making any troubles to the business process, but then the trade unions are also very important for the organization. It's saying that trade unions are an instrument that unite all employees of an organization into a cohesive group. Therefore, to be strategic, HR should maintain a positive and healthy relationship between unions. Right? So, as I explained, there should be a good relationship should be developed within before it is employee and employee relationship. There should be a good relationship among the HR department and the unions, so the employees. Yeah, then only they will able to develop further as one team. Yeah. So coming up to the final point, so that is organizational performance, right? Organizational performance is what is the end results, yeah, what is expecting from all these things. So if it is not performing well, it's no point having good management, so good human resource management, right? For that, basically the development of human resource policies and empowering employees is important, and then the teamwork, developing the teamwork within the organized team, the organization, and also the workplace learning culture, right? We have discussed so far. So these three, and make sure the employee commitment, yeah, employee motivation, with the employee motivation, the employee commitment will be decided, and then with the commitment, with the positive commitment and good attitudes, they will work as a one team. Yeah, that make a synergy effect. Yeah, I think you have already learned about synergy effect. That basically it's not one. It's like one plus one is not two, like three. Right? That type of thing is talking about. That means when there are two persons working as one, working together, the result may not be the same as if the both person work individually and collect it up the results, and when they are working as a one team as without working as individuals, and the results not be the same. When they are working as a team, and there can be more ideas can be come up, and the way that can be the wrong practices can be eliminated, and good ideas can be come, and the ideas can be further developed with arguments and constructive arguments, right? So it's very important to having this synergy effect, develop that synergy effect within the team, so that will make sure that organizations finally performance will be best, so it will be the performance will be increased, right? So in that case, the universal policies of empowerment, the teamwork, and the workplace learning culture should be further developed. Accordingly, the employee commitment should be make sure that the employee is committed to achieve the results, and the team synergy effect should be there. As a result, the organizational performance will be further developed, right? So these are the five main dimensions of strategic human resource management. Yeah. So having these things within an organization will be good for the strategic human resource management uh, development in the organization, right? So that is what I have planned to discuss today. Yeah. So if you have any questions to discuss, so any area what we have discussed so far, or even for the last session or last part, you may ask now, or you can put anything, your comments or questions in the chat box. Yeah. So if there are no any questions, we can wind up for today. If you have any question, you can I will wait another 2-3 minutes. You can simply ask from me. Yeah, or you can put it into chat, or you can leave the meeting if you don't have any questions. And we will meet again